It's the same with writing as well, and copywriting. Explore the parameters of the possibility. You know, what's out there. What can you write? Again, with the art direction, you're moving the copy around for the art direction side. Do the other way around. You know, get the copy to work, or get the art direction to work around the copy. You know, and it works in the same way, and either one can lead really. It just depends what kind of campaign you're looking to do. What you want to say. It might be that the best campaign is, well, for a copywriter, is no words at all, but that's the copywriter's decision. Or it might be 3 paragraphs of writing, but again, that's the copywriter's decision, and that's where sort of learning about your art, and it is an art, copywriting is an absolute art, and if you go back, you know, 10, 20, 30 years, you know, the writers from the heyday were phenomenal writers, and they were craftsmen like you've never seen before. And a lot of feedback that I get nowadays from creative directors is, unfortunately, that art has lost a little. You know, in terms of they just don't get the flair and the excellence of the writing anymore. And it's something that they would love to see. So just try everything, really.
Yeah, but I'd just say when I was at Ogilvy, so a lot of famous writers just left or were there. Salman Rushdie was there, he was writing ads, and he said in one of his interviews that it was really good for him to be there for a few years. I know he's written all these famous books now, but you know, you had to actually produce something that day, that morning, for whatever. It kind of forced him to be a writer in a way on the clock. Faye Weldon was there writing stuff, and a lot of people had come to advertising through like local journalism, or they were poets. But I think now people tend to come from colleges and art schools. And if you're teamed with an art director, you can be the strongest sometimes or the weakest, but between the two of you, you can play around with the words, and you could write a lot or very little, but maybe the art director will write the headline. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what comes out in the end, what you put on the table for the creative director to look at. Really.
I think, yeah, it's weird because a lot of, like when I was in my partnership, a lot of the times I would write a lot of the copy and he would finesse it. There's nothing that he would do that I couldn't do, but he could do it that little bit better, and the same the other way around. So the terms copywriter and art direction and creative teams are very sort of difficult in the sense that you don't let it pigeonhole you into thinking that's your world and that's his world.
It is a grey area.
It's a kind of difficult
crossover.
But one of the things I often thought, because I being more of an illustrator background, it was very easy for me to think, right, I want to get my work out there, and that meant I could just draw something and put it out. But then I often used to think, if I was in the copywriting field, what would I do? And one of the things I thought that I would possibly look at doing is challenge myself to do something like write a blog and see if I can get 15 regular readers. Now 15 regular readers doesn't sound a lot, but it actually would be very, very hard. You'd have to be a very good writer to get 15 people to regularly want to check out your writing. So I'd give myself little challenges like that. There's lots of places online that you can start blogs and you can start talking about things and sort of try and get a following, and sort of, if you're not getting a following, look at what sort of styles of blogs are, and why are they concise posts, or where are you rambling, and you can start to sort of, like how sort of we sort of illustrators and artists and stuff put stuff out and people don't bother looking at it, and you look at the, I can see why now, I can see because they've used colour better, I've got a rainbow piece here. It'd be the equivalent of doing that maybe with your blog. You might be sort of rambling on, and then you sort of realise actually people just want little snippets. So I think that might be a sort of a practical way of sort of building up those skills.
I think in terms of copy, you know, fundamentally it's writing. I mean, that's what it is. So if you look at things like Mind the Gap, which we've all seen, enjoyed and laughed at, if you look at things, the best 4x4 by far, if you look at the most recent one on TV, Make the Unmissable unmissable, what a bloody fantastic line. You know, that. Or you write 200 words on something, and that's what you need to do. You've just got to try and work with words to make it actually really sound and to go home to the viewer. But make the unmissable unmissable. It doesn't get any better than that in my book. So simple.
Strange enough,
down from major players, because you've asked a question about it. I think I know your answer because of what you just said, but copywriters used to, before the recession, be in huge demand. Are they still?
I think copywriters because of their skill sets and because of what they, it depends what area is the honest answer. I think to find an excellent headline copywriter is vastly different than finding a fantastic body copy writer. They are different skill sets, and not necessarily can a copywriter do both, believe it or not. I would say that copywriters are always in demand, but it's really a question of where they fit now, and what need an agency would have for them. But ultimately, if you are a fantastic copywriter, then you have in this market an excellent chance, job-wise, because they are always in demand. They are always in demand.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just had a thought. I don't know if it's quite. Do you know these Reddit and Dig search engines? They're really interesting because basically people submit interesting things for other people to look at, and you can vote them up or down. And the great thing about that is you have a headline, and then you have a little bit underneath that sells the story. So great, so if you are interested in seeing if you can work your headlines and your little sort of body copy, start submitting things to those sort of Reddit and Dig and see if people are responding to your headline. And if they're not, look at the ones that do go to the top, why they work and why they don't, what sort of things people are trying. I mean, that works very well for online, but it will just give you an idea of how you can target how you're writing for different
Practice your
audiences.
writing.
Yeah, it's that practice thing and getting it out there, which I think that might help. There you go.
Yes.
Are we complete on that panel?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Well,
I'm
we're
just
happy with
thinking what Indra Sinha told me once. He used to write amazing, he still writes books and very, very long ads, but he told me that a long headline can be quicker than a short headline. You can work that one out. He used to write these long headlines, but
I mean,
it's quick thought, you know.
If you go to 40 years of D&AD, which obviously contains the last 40 years, it's all there. And just have a good look at that, but not just look at it, but analyse what the message is, how they're trying to say it, who was saying it, and so on. Fine. Next question.